Regina, Mater misericordiae, vita dulcedo, estes nostra salve.
The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. A leper came to him and kneeling down begged him and said, "If you wish, you can make me clean." Moved with pity, he stretched out his hand and touched the leper and said to him, "I will do it. Be clean." The leprosy left him immediately, and he was made clean. Then warning him sternly, he dismissed him at once. Then he said to him, "See that you tell no one anything, but go show yourselves to the priest and offer for your cleansing what Moses prescribed. That will be proof for them." The man went away and began to publicize the whole matter. He spread the report abroad so that it was impossible for Jesus to enter a town openly. He remained outside in deserted places, and people kept coming to him from everywhere. The Gospel of the Lord.
Today we celebrate the feast of Anthony of Egypt, one of the desert fathers. The letter to the Hebrews reminds us, the Holy Spirit says. Now that's the third person of the Trinity talking, laying down something definitive. The Holy Spirit says, "Oh, that today you would hear his voice and not harden your hearts." Not harden your hearts. Anthony of Egypt didn't harden his heart. By the way, he was homeschooled because his parents were afraid of pagan influences. So Anthony of the Desert walks into a church 6 months after his parents dies, and he hears the gospel. If you want to be perfect, sell all you have, and you will have treasure in heaven. Then come and follow me. Matthew 19. He heard this and he realized it was for him. And so he distributed all the wealth of the estate that his parents left, and it was substantial. And he went to live a life of a hermit in the desert. And during his time, although a hermit, he was very influential in the church and in his community. He supported believers during the angst of the Diocletian persecution. They would come to him for counsel and prayer. He was very supportive of St. Athanasius in his battling with the Arian heretics. He lived till he was 105. I'm not interested. Another type of hearing with an open heart is this leper who heard about Jesus. And he came to him kneeling down and begged him, "If you wish, you can make me clean." Kneeling and begging, a posture of profound worship. And he doesn't allow shame of his leprosy to impede his approach to Jesus. Instead, his shame of leprosy impels him even more to be driven to Jesus. This should be our posture for confession. I'm not saying this to enable us to sin, but that we shouldn't let shame stop us from going to Jesus. Shame surely should stop us from sinning. If you're going to talk about Catholic guilt, that's what Catholic guilt really is. It's the shame and the guilt that says, we shouldn't go there. On the other hand, a shame that says don't go to Jesus, that is not Catholic. And this leper reveals his blemishes. He reveals his brokenness. He shows it all to Jesus. And he does it in a posture of worship. You can see the whole sacrament of reconciliation. Bless me, Father, I've sinned. And so this actually moves Jesus with pity. It moves him to pity, and he stretches out his hand. It's an open heart that seeks mercy that moves Jesus to pity. Isn't that amazing? And so can you hear him calling to you now? Oh, if today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. Last Friday, we had adoration for families. And the point is to help the children, even in their fidgetiness, to appreciate adoration. And I asked the kids to be quiet and still and listen if Jesus would speak to them. And when I asked them if they heard him, you wouldn't believe some of the things they said. It was so apparent that they heard him. If today you hear his voice, harden not your hearts. When did we stop being childlike and have our ears plugged up from hearing Jesus?
Regina Celi, let our